Morning, Ian. How are you?
I'm very well. Morning, Dave. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. I'm good, thanks. Do you want to just introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. My name's Iain Neely. I'm a senior lecturer on the children's program now. I'm dual trained, paediatrics and adults. So I have just been working on the adult side, but I'm now moving across for a new challenge on the paediatric, to contribute towards the paediatric program.
Brilliant. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your career so far? What you've done over the duration?
Yeah, sure. Well, I qualified in 1985, way back, and initially worked in adults. I was a registered general nurse. Did probably about 6 years in accident emergency, as it was called at the time. And then I did my paediatric training, and then moved into paediatrics and worked in paediatric emergency for approximately 19 years after that. So all in all, I've probably been in the job for a good 30 years in adults and paediatrics, but probably the paediatric side is the side closer to my heart and the area where I've got most expertise. I've worked at Derby, Leicester, various places. Derby Children's Queen's Medical Centre was my most recent job, where I was the education lead for the emergency department at Queen's Medical Centre.
Brilliant. Now, I've heard this story before, but what made you go into nursing?
I had absolutely no ambitions to be a nurse at all. I was working on we had this discussion before, but I was working on a building site actually, and as a labourer, and I wanted to be a sports physio. I got an idea that I wanted to be a sports physio, but I dropped out of my A levels because I was bored. And somebody just offered an idea about, well, why don't you go be a male nurse? If you can't then be a sports physio, go for a physiotherapy training for your A levels. So got an interview at Derby, went with absolutely no idea about nursing at all. And somehow managed to get through an interview with two, let's say, very old-fashioned sisters in all their frilly hats and frilly collars and that, and somehow managed to get through that interview. I think the one thing I did talk about on that interview was the fact that I felt I think the one question I remember from that interview was that patients were the most important. They asked me who was the most important person in the hospital, and I said the patient. I think probably that was the reason they got through. And so 9 months later, I was starting my training with absolutely no idea what I was undertaking. But from the moment I did it, loved it. And here I am all these years later.
Absolutely. So who's the most inspiring nurse that you've ever worked with?
I would say I loved the nursing from the start, and I loved my training. It was great experience. You were thrown in at the deep end in them days. There was absolutely no quarter given really in those days, which wasn't good in a lot of ways, but in some ways was. And after about on my first ward, I thought, God, what am I doing here? Because it just wasn't me. I'd come off a building site, and I was probably thinking about packing up really. My mentor on my first ward, am I allowed to I don't know, I better not name her. But anyway, my mentor on my first ward was quite inspirational, really. Just in the way she interacted with people and was able to talk to people and that. And she inspired me really to stay. And she didn't convince me. She said it was up to me, but she inspired me to stay. And just purely through her professionalism and the way she dealt with people. She was just a people person, Anyway, funny story. I was just doing one of the walk rounds of the Royal Derby about a year ago, and not seen her for 30 years either. And bumped into her on the ward, and she's working as a staff nurse now. She's been a sister and everything, but she just does a few days as a staff nurse, doing what she did, and doing it in exactly the same way that she did when she inspired me to stay. So, which was quite a touching moment meeting her actually. Yeah. And she cried actually because I said to her, "You're the reason I'm still here 30 years later."
That's brilliant.
Because you inspired me to stay, because I never told her that.
No.
So that was quite a nice story and a nice kind of.
That is lovely, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So I would say her, yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. So what would you do if you weren't a nurse?
Oh gosh. Well, the direction I was heading was probably maybe something in the building trade. If I'd have I wouldn't want to continue labouring, but I might have wanted to do a trade like carpentry or bricklaying or something like that. Other than that, I was a bit of a lost soul at that stage, like a lot of people are. I think that I just, I knew I kind of was good practically, and probably that's been borne out now. The fact that actually probably my skill as a lecturer is around clinical skills and the teaching of clinical skills and using the experience to actually enhance that. So I'm quite a practical person, so I think it would have been something practical.
Yeah. Okay. So what do you do outside of work? You got hobbies and interests?
I'm not now, but I've just come off a sort of 15-year period of being in a Scottish pipe band.
Brilliant.
Where I was a drummer, which was great fun. Lots of we used to compete at the World Championships, etc. So there was a lot of pressure, a lot of practice, a lot of dedication, but also real good fun, and just great to meet people that had nothing to do with medicine and nursing, to be honest, and get a whole different perspective on how people are and how they feel about things. Because as you know, you tend to surround yourself with medical and nursing people in this career. So. It was brilliant to be alongside people and go out for beers with people who didn't care about doctors and nurses and medicine. So that was really refreshing. And the other thing I tend to do is I go fishing, fly fishing quite a lot. It just gets me out in the countryside and allows me to think about things and clear my mind a bit. Yeah,
fresh air, a bit of exercise, a bit of mind cleansing. It's all good.
Yeah.
Excellent. No, that's really good. Brilliant. Well, it's really, really lovely to chat to you. Hopefully we'll be back in the classroom teaching, doing some more of that clinical skills teaching and things soon. It'll be great to be back.
Excellent. Yeah. Nice to talk to you, Dave.
Brilliant. We'll see you really soon, mate.
See you soon.
Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.